Hey guys, welcome back. This is the Vlog Daily number 18 and we're moving on to the drum kit here. So as you can see, I've got some pictures here. This is just for reference. So I've got different parts of drum kits like the snare drum, tom-toms, hi-hat, cymbals, ride cymbal, the lot. So I'm using these as a reference and this will just help me get through the modelling process. Also help me with kind of scale and stuff and how each drum and each part relates to each other, just so I can get the size of things properly done. So we shall jump into the modelling process right now. So the first stage, what I'm doing is I'm just taking the reference meshes from Unreal and bringing them into 3ds Max. And I'll use that as a kind of basis to begin the modelling of each part. So the first thing I do is the snare drum. I want to make sure I get the diameter right and stuff with the box, and then just the depth of it right as well. And then what I do after that is I start blocking in the main shape. So the first part with the drums here, it's a wee bit time consuming because I'm just trying to get shapes and form and all that correct, because what I can do is once I've done that properly, I can then just copy a lot of that over, and then it's just reshaping it to whatever part it is that I'm modelling. So as you can see there, I'm just fitting in the skin, the part where the actual drumstick hits the drum and it gets you the sound. And then just here I'm getting the bracket which actually holds the skin in place. So I'm just trying to get the scale right there, just making sure there's not too much things sticking out, because you wouldn't want the arms or the hands in like catching as it would be played. So I'm just moving on to the stand here. I'm just adding like different brackets and stuff just to make it look as though it can be adjustable, the height of the stand, depending who's playing. So the snare's quite funny because you've got a kind of bracket that adjusts the angle, but also you've got these kind of prongs that come out and actually hold the snare drum in place. So I'm just getting that into perspective there. And a lot of these fittings and stands are all very similar for each part. So I'm just at the rubber kind of ends here that'll kind of stop the snare drum from sliding about the place. So with the cymbals and the other drums and stuff, every other drum and every other thing will have very similar stands. They'll kind of change in size just depending what it is that I'm working on there. So I'm just using Turbo Smooth there just to make sure that it looks correct. And we are just moving on to the hi-hat next. So again, just try to get the diameter right there, and then work on the depth, and then making sure when I put Turbo Smooth on, it's looking correct. So just take the stand from the snare drum here, and just make a few modifications. With this added stand, you've got the foot pedal that opens and closes the hi-hat. So I move on to that shape right there. So I'm just starting off with the plane, getting the form there right, and a bit of thickness, and then I just start adding all the kind of other parts that make up the sort of foot pedal here, and then just to make it look as though it's connected to the hi-hat so it can go up and down. Of course, this isn't every single part, because I'm thinking from sort of the game's perspective that you're not going to be able to see everything, and then given the size of this and the actual level, it's going to be quite small. So I'm just making sure there's enough detail there that it looks as though it's functional and it can actually work. So here I'm just adding kind of supports there for the actual legs, and then start moving on to the first cymbal, the crash cymbal. Again, I'm just making a few modifications with the legs because these are actually a little bit bigger, given the size of the cymbal. They can be quite heavy, so you want just to stand out and make it look as though it's can actually support the cymbal there. So I'm just add like a few kind of dents here and there, because obviously it's been played quite a lot, so it's not always going to be like the perfect shape there. And then adding the kind of bracket goes through the cymbal there. Again, just make sure that works right, and then I'm just adding the brackets at the bottom of the legs. And move on to the second cymbal, which is just slightly bigger, but it's using pretty much the same stand, so there's not too much work there. And then finally I work on the right cymbal there. Excuse me. And I'm working on the tom-toms here. Again, drums here are quite similar. So the first one might take a wee while to do, and then what I'll do is just move on to the second one there. Then finally I move on to the floor drum here. The scale that I use for this in Unreal Engine, I think it was correct, but just when I bring it together with all the other parts, for some reason it just doesn't look quite right, so I basically just sort of make it my own size to what it fits to. And here we've got the floor tom. I'm just adding the legs there, just to get that in there. Yeah, so go back to the floor tom, and I look at the size here, but I realise it's too long. But I get that kind of adjusted to what feels right. Now I'm also considering here the tom-toms, the two drums above that, very large drum. I'm just making sure that they're quite close together, because I'm thinking if the player was to use this, you know, would they be able to reach the drum when they're playing? So I'm kind of thinking about all that sort of thing while I'm creating this. And here I'm using brackets to hold in the skin of the floor tom, because it's quite big as well. The brackets are going to be a lot bigger than the other drums. So I'm just bringing it all into place, just making sure that it looks good, and then I just get the support feet there so that the floor tom doesn't run away from us. Then I just start on the bracket to actually hold in the sort of two tom-toms there. I'm just thinking if these are going to rotate, just make sure that the brackets holding them aren't going to bump into each other. So you can just see that I'm just moving them out of the way slightly. And I'm just bringing all the drums there together. And I'll work on the floor pedal, which actually hits the bass drum. So I'm just making sure there's enough detail there. So you can see that there's like the hammer that I'll add at the end there. But I'm getting the bracket, or bracket should I say, that will actually clamp onto the bass drum, you can see there. Then finally adding the hammer there. And just smoothing off the end there, just because it's going to be quite soft. And that's that pretty much done. So this is the drum kit that I finished with. It's about 4,000 polygons, I believe. So it's actually about 1,500 or less than the guitar, because that uses a lot of kind of funny shapes and stuff. It required a bit more topology. So that's the drums here done. So what I'll be doing next is I'll be getting this UV mapped, and eventually we'll get this into the Unreal Engine. We'll set up the shaders for this, and we'll see how we go on with that. So thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you very soon.